what you thought of the comments and whether you consider them to be racist.
I think Canadians and indeed people around the world know exactly what I think about those particular comments. That is not how we do things in Canada. A Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian, and the diversity of our country is actually one of our greatest strengths and a source of tremendous resilience and pride for Canadians, and we will continue to defend that.
Well, that was Justin Trudeau earlier today. As you saw in my monologue, he went much further, saying that Donald Trump's comments were unacceptable, offensive, and not allowed in Canada. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I do know that trying to weigh into a domestic partisan political dispute is the job of pundits like me, but not the jobs of prime ministers. And it made me think of this column by Lorne Gunter in the Edmonton Sun. The headline is, "Liberals have no clue how to avoid conflicts, solve crises they've created." And I think this is a perfect example of that. Joining us now to talk about the column is its author, Lorne Gunter, with the Edmonton Sun. Lorne, great to see you again. It's like you were prescient, because I think you wrote this yesterday, and then today Trudeau doubled down on his earlier remarks, basically calling Trump a racist.
Yeah, and there's no prescience on my part. You just write something like that about Trudeau, and within 7 to 10 days, he's going to do something stupid to prove you're right. Now, in this case, it took less than 24 hours, but nonetheless, this is just what they do. They step in cow pies of their own devising over and over and over again. These comments are something he has no business referring to or making passing judgment on, because they're completely domestic. They're entirely internal. They are American politics, one side fighting another. I think that what Trump said was racist. I think it was stupid, but I am not the prime minister, and I don't have the benefits of his office, and he doesn't have the benefits of our jobs where we can comment on things like this. He has to have some form of diplomacy. And if you want to know a practical, real-world reason why this little teacher guy shouldn't be speaking out like this, it's what's happening in China right now. Yeah. We have 2 Canadians who are in prison, and I would say have been imprisoned illegally by the Chinese dictatorship. And we need the Americans' help to get them out. Now, they are there in part because we did what the Americans asked us to do in arresting the Huawei executive, who is now under house arrest in Vancouver. In retaliation for us doing that, at the behest of the Americans, the Chinese arrested a Canadian diplomat and a Canadian businessman. We need the Americans to say, quietly or forcefully in public, look, you got to let those Canadians out. This fight is between you and us. They're just doing what we asked them to do according to an international treaty of which they are a part. Leave their people out of this. That's what we need the Americans to do. Mm-hmm. They're not doing that, though, because about every 6 months, Trudeau can't keep his mouth shut, mm-hmm. and he says something that offends Donald Trump. I don't care what you think of Trump. I don't care whether you like him or not, whether you think he's a hothead, whether you think he should have thicker skin than to be offended by stuff Trudeau says. The point is, we need his help. Trudeau knows we need his help, and he can't stop virtue signaling no matter what. Those 2 guys are languishing in a Chinese prison because Trudeau can't keep his yap shut.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. Every day I do a video monologue, and then I interview an interesting guest, and then I end by reading my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at therebel.media/shows.